This is MRN Out Loud on MRN.com, presented by Bloomin' Mondays at Outback Steakhouse. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
MRN Out Loud, presented by Outback Steakhouse, the season finale. Woody Cain alongside Joey Meier, our last show of the season, recapping what happened at Homestead Miami Speedway. We crowned not one, not two, but three champions, and I don't know that there was a huge surprise in any of them. You might say Matt Crafton, who, by the way, will be on the show a little bit later. Tyler Reddick, who will be on the show a little bit later, repeats. And then Kyle Busch was already a champion. You know, Matt Crafton, a two-time champion already. So was there a big surprise?
You know, it's a deja vu show. 7 years ago, we got to sit right here and start this show with our MRN Motorsports Monday
That's
shirts.
right. We're going retro.
We've transitioned. We've got our old producer back in the booth, Craig Moore, who's behind the scenes doing a heck of a job. Last week was Daryl's last week for 5 years, and Craig was with us to start. And here we are giving onions away again. So why not have repeat winners all around? Just you're a winner, everybody's a winner. Right, exactly.
But it was on the Cup side. Let's start there. We had four very worthy contenders in the championship four. Denny Hamlin, the only one among those who hadn't already won a championship. But it was almost like as the others had issues, Kyle Busch just kept chugging along.
That's it. When we look at the scoreboard during the first two stages, clearly in the top five for most of the race was the four, the 18, the 19, and those guys were just running so well. It took a few mistakes to take people out of the equation. The last time I can remember somebody putting the tires on the wrong side of the car, people have no idea how intricate those setups are behind the pits.
It's all choreographed down to the last breath. Yeah.
The only thing the same between left side tires and right side tires on a race car is the fact they're black.
Yeah.
Okay? Every single thing else about those cars, from the circumference to the size to the air pressures, are completely different. Because
our MRN analyst, Rusty Wallace, said the air pressure difference between those two can be 20 pounds.
Absolutely. I was going to say 20, even possibly 30.
Yeah.
We'll put 60 on one side during qualifying. So huge differences in tires. Very, very important. It's not like doing a rotation on your street car where you take the lefts and put them on the rights and you don't notice the difference. For that mistake to happen was uncharacteristic and uncalled for in a number of years. We've never seen it. And then you had the 11 car coming, superb pit strategy. They're going to look like they're going to win the race. They come off pit road good. And what we do, every team does what they do. As we get towards the end of the race, the engine manufacturers go, okay, and I'm just going to make numbers up here. During the race, you can run 270 degrees of water temperature. At the end of the race, the last 40 or 50 laps will allow you to run 290 and say possibly 300 degrees.
You know, you don't have that much further to make it survive. Right.
And what we do is we can tape up the openings in the car. Why do we do that? Why do we run our motor hotter? Because now it makes the car a little more faster. More air goes over it. My car is going to be like we would in qualifying. It's going to go over the car, be a little faster, put a little more downforce on the nose, and I can go quicker. Unfortunately, that little bit of tape that they misjudged went from 270 to 350.
And that's too much.
And we saw the little choo-choo train as he was coming down. It's that blowing steam out, so they had to come down. He would not have finished the race without it. And again, the four car kind of chugged along. He was doing what he was doing, but he realized he didn't have the fastest car, so he had to roll the dice, man. We're not in Vegas yet, but we were in Vegas.
He needed to try and get out front and take control of it.
He had to get out front. So clearly at the end of the last, when we look at history, the last 20, 30 laps at Homestead was always a caution. It allows everybody to bunch up, so Harvick stays out. He's going to be out in front and almost has a whole bunch of people lapped. No caution flag. Kyle Busch just goes along and does what he does, and poof, everything turns out, and he's the leader of the race. Comes to the checkered flag, gets a second win for those guys, and really what it does is, you remember his first championship, everybody was giving the team grief because he didn't run the whole season.
That was the injury year.
He had the catastrophic Daytona wreck, broke both of his legs with almost career-ending injuries potentially. And then NASCAR gave him a waiver, which they allowed him because of medical issues to come back and finish the season. He able to make a championship, but didn't run 10 or 12 races. This was a whole season. This really justifies where Kyle Busch goes, this legitimizes my first championship, which he didn't have to legitimize.
Right.
But the second one was done very well. Him and Adam Stevens had a flawless perfect day at Homestead.
All right. Well, speaking of Kyle Busch and Adam Stevens, let's start with Kyle Busch. He talks about, and this is something you don't often hear from Kyle, talking about the emotion that he was facing as he rode that last lap, as he took the white flag at Homestead Miami Speedway.
I'm not exactly sure. I kind of probably don't remember much of it already, but you know, I do remember taking the white flag and crossing underneath that, and just I had some tears rolling down my eyes for the last lap, and was just like, come on, man, we still got to finish this damn thing. Don't be such a sis. But how was my last lap time? I don't even know.
I quit looking about 10 to go.
Okay, so hopefully it was decent. I don't know. We had a good lead to the guys behind us, but overall, just emotions were starting to set in. I just probably didn't know where the hell my mind was at, but knew we had won, and we had won big, and was just kind of being a bit more subdued about it.
You know, you don't often hear stuff like that from Kyle Busch about where, A, he's letting the emotion out in the first place, and B, being willing to talk about it.
You know, one of the things we've known Kyle Busch for is wearing the M&M's brand. He has 2 cartoon character M&M's on his fire suit, and part of what we see on TV is a character. It's a Kyle Busch character. He's known for getting out and giving the crying signs and really taunting the fans that don't like him.
Which I still think was spectacular, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's playing a character. He's the black hat, man.
Right.
There's no doubt about it.
Every good story needs yin and yang, heroes and villains, good and bad.
The white cowboy hat needs a black one. Without a black one, the white one's just a cowboy hat.
You got no story.
It's just a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
We see the character or the person that Kyle Busch portrays when he's angry or when he's winning. He likes that. But to see the very real and very raw and authentic emotion from him, he's admitting the guy was crying. He was so thrilled that he's going to win this championship. And it wasn't just a race he was winning. It was the 36 race season. You got to remember, this starts, and people forget, we started in February before Valentine's Day racing. This season prep is a year long going on. And it all comes down to one guy, one team, one race, one moment. And not only is he winning the race, he's beating the other 3 competitors, and he's winning the championship, which is the only goal every team has. The minute January 1st rolls around, every season starts equal. Every team is equal, and they all have the exact goal to sit right there with his crew chief and his owner, Joe Gibbs, and celebrate a championship, which is what he did.
I want to bring up Adam Stevens next. You mentioned him. We heard briefly from him there, but he spoke with our Dylan Welch on the MRN broadcast after the victory yesterday, right immediately after the victory, and he said almost identical what you said, except he went even further back. He said, when the checkered flag fell at Homestead last year, we've been working toward this moment.
There you go.
A whole calendar year to get to where he was. And Adam Stevens has both of those championships. He's worked with Kyle for both of those championships. He compared the 2 seasons.
It felt a lot like 2015 to me, aside from the broken legs, obviously. But, you know, in 2015, Kyle came back. We got off to a pretty hot start, won a few races. We won Indy, and then we didn't win again until we got to Homestead.
I need a break after this so we can.
But we weren't running poorly. We were competitive. We were leading laps. We were toward the front, and it takes a lot of things to go your way to win a race. And one of those things that has to go your way is you can't make any mistakes. And you know, this year it was kind of similar. We won some races early. We had tied a record for a top 10 streak or something, I'm told, early in the year, and had a couple races get away from us. But it wasn't because we weren't fast. It wasn't because we weren't prepared. They just didn't go our way. And there were some things that we could have done better and some circumstances that happened. You know, it's just the way that racing is. So it felt a little bit like that. We had to claw our way through the rounds. And, you know, we got in by virtue of points, which we've done 3 out of the 5 times we've made it. And, you know, it's about showing up and being your best when it matters the most. And tonight it mattered the most.
What they did, show up when it matters most and be their best.
He made a comment about no mistakes, and if we look at our next guest and the guest after that, we're going to talk about the lack of mistakes that all 3 guys made. Kyle Busch hadn't driven to victory lane since Pocono.
June.
What got him to victory lane yesterday was no mistakes.
Yep.
And that was what it's so critical, because our next guest and the guest after him also had no mistakes to Homestead, and that was their success story.
They sure did. He's talking about Tyler Reddick, the Xfinity Series champion, who will join us a little bit later. But after the break, Matt Crafton, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series champ.
Here's your chance to win a set of your very own Hercules tires. Go to HerculesTires.com/MRN. Simply register, and each month we'll give away one set of tires. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading mileage coverage to get you wherever you need to go, no matter where the road takes you. Register now for your chance to win a set of Hercules tires at HerculesTires.com/MRN. Hercules Tires. Ride on our street.
Hi, this is Mike Backley. Join me and the rest of the MRN crew every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. We'll get you up to date with the latest news stories and ready for the upcoming race weekend.
That's what it boils down to. You know, anything can happen in between, and we've seen it the last few years, kind of how crazy things can get.
Hear exclusive interviews, expert analysis, and much more.
Wheel that thing, brother, wheel it! That's why you never give up, guys, never give up.
It's NASCAR Live this Tuesday night at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
MRN's Classic Races.
Labonte gets crossed up. Labonte goes around. Dale Earnhardt now watches Labonte spun across the line and got the win.
Spanning 50 years of NASCAR racing.
Barney Hall. There's a beautiful afternoon here in Daytona Beach, and the action will be fast and furious.
Legendary voices, legendary races.
Darrell, simply, what happened?
I just hope he chokes on that 200,000. That's all I can tell him.
MRN's Classic Races, available on MRN.com, iTunes, and your favorite podcast providers.
He did touch. No, he knocked the hell out of me.
MRN Out Loud, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Woody Cain and Joey Meier. We forgot to mention that Kevin Harvick did another top 10 finish, and that means what?
Free. Just go to Outback, get a free bloomin' onion.
Free bloomin' onion on Monday.
They're giving them away on Mondays.
Right. How can you beat free stuff? All right.
You walk in the door, they give you an onion.
We got a little more business to take care of later, but first, let's talk a little Gander Outdoors Truck Series action. Matt Crafton became a 3-time champion on Ford Championship Weekend at Homestead. He is now the champ from 2013, 2014, and 2019, and he joins us now on the guest line. Matt, welcome back to the show. Congratulations, man. This has been a long, hard fight, but you got it done when it counted most.
Yes, sir. Yeah, when the gloves came off there at the end and we did what we had to do to get there. The season we've had getting here, who would ever thought that we would have been holding that championship trophy because of the ups and downs we've had.
You know, one of the things you had to overcome was the eerie thing of Vegas. You know, I was part of that with another race team on the Ilmore side with the engine issues. But you guys kept crawling and getting to the back of the top. When you showed it up at Homestead, did you expect to have to win the race to get the champion, or did you just want to beat the other three guys? What came first?
It's all about beating the three guys.
Okay.
And at the end of practice, we've always been really good here. It's been one of my favorite racetracks. And when I knew we made it to the Final Four, I knew they were going to have some trouble with us because I really felt that we were going to be good here. And when we ended practice, I'm like, this thing's good. This thing's really good. And we were very methodical all day during practice, and we ended practice kind of the balance that we thought it was needed to be. I was praying that it wasn't going to race during the day because we definitely weren't set up for the daytime there. Because that place changes a lot from day to night without a doubt. But we made all the right adjustments. Junior, just tweaked the air pressure here and there throughout the night, and that was about it.
Junior was very confident before the race, and he's a guy who will usually tell you what he really thinks about the truck, and he was very, very confident before the race. But in the race, when Austin Hill had so much speed, he wound up winning the race. I could sense, and you said something about it in your post-race interview, you wanted to get up there and challenge him, but you had to keep the big picture in mind. How difficult was that to kind of restrain yourself and go, no, big picture, big picture?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. When I was leading there, and then he caught me, and then we started racing side by side for a couple laps. And whenever he did one of the sliders to clear me in 3 and 4, and it's like, man, I got to let him go. I cannot keep racing him side by side, as I knew that the championship guys were behind me quite a ways, but I didn't want to just slow us down, burn our tires up racing like crazy men. And we did what we had to do, and they kept telling me whoever was the championship guy behind me at that point, and I think we had 9 seconds on him. And so at that point, we just kind of rode and took care of our stuff just in case we had to yell it.
You know, Matt, I'm really happy that you used all of the lessons that I taught you from Talladega.
Oh, here we go.
but what's interesting is you are the most experienced driver in the field, and we don't like to talk about age, but from an experience standpoint, you really had two of your veterans in your ear the entire race with Jason Hedleski and Carl Joyner. When you show up at the track, that automatically gives you an advantage, don't you feel?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, having Jason and Junior, I mean, they're phenomenal. And I feel they're two of the best out there. And we work so well together and believe in each other. I mean, everything that Junior tells me, I mean, I believe that what he's going to do on the race truck is going to be better. And whenever Jason tells me clear, I don't have to look in the mirror. And anything he's telling me going on around me, I never second guess either of them.
Matt, we were talking big picture a moment ago, but let's broaden it out a little bit more. You're a 3-time champion now, tying Jack Sprague for second on the all-time list, chasing Ron Hornaday, who has 4. Do you think about stats and numbers and stuff like that, or is it just the immediate race in front of you?
I've always been the guy that just thinks about the immediate race in front of him. And at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, people bring it up, and I didn't even realize all that. I had no idea that Hornaday – I knew Hornaday had 4, but I didn't know who had 3 or anything like that until last week at the media day.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things you're going to be dealing with now is as we get older, one of your cohorts, the gentleman you filled in for at Talladega, Mr. Paul Menard, is retiring. You're associated with a long-time career with Menards. 2020 rolls around. A, what do you do in the off season? And B, how much longer do you have?
And it's a shame that Paul's retiring. I mean, I know that he was definitely on the fence for it, but at the end of the day, I mean, Menards has been so good for so many different race teams, and especially for me and for my career. How much longer I've got? At the end of the day, I remember this guy, Ron Hornaday. I think he was whipping our butt pretty consistently whenever he was 50 years old. So I know. I mean, I'm having fun, so I know I will at least go that long. Good. That's the plan, at least.
You do any racing in the off season?
I'm actually going to go out to Southern California. I have a sand rail, an off-road car, and side-by-side, and I go out there, and one of the greatest things about going out there is there is hardly any cell phone service. So it's like 8 days I'm out there here next week, starting next Sunday, and at the end of the day, when they call, and I didn't have service.
Yeah, I think your team owner just cringed when he heard sand rail.
Oh, he knows. He's actually been out there with me in it.
Talking about Duke and Rhonda Thorson from ThorSport Racing, being with that great organization helps a lot. But I want to shift gears a little bit, Matt. I was working the turn in that race between 3 and 4, and on one of the restarts, I want to say it was the second stage, I noticed something coming across the track. It hopped up on the wall and walked along, and at first I thought it was a cat. I heard later that it was a fox, and Todd Gilliland in the 4 truck hit it. Did you see any of that?
I didn't see any of it. I heard about it after the race, but if that would have brought out the yellow, that would have been, and we would have lost the race, that would have been like the perfect story for our year.
Right. Of all things.
Right. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. That's what I was with Stuart Friesen yesterday and having a few drinks, and they were joking because his truck was really good on a short run, and I could maintain with everybody, and then I felt ours was the best of the championship guys by far on the long run. And they were talking about, man, we were thinking about throwing something on the track. I said, well, didn't you guys throw the fox out there?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's fantastic. Well, Matt, congratulations on a really spectacular season. We appreciate your time, and enjoy being out there with no cell phone contact here for a few days.
Yes, and so I'll just tell you guys right now, I'm sorry about that.
All right, Matt, thanks for your time. Congratulations.
Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Good job, Matt.
There you go. Matt Crafton, the 2019 Gander Outdoors Truck Series champion. 3 times now he's done it, tying with Jack Sprague. Only Ron Hornaday with 4 has more. We'll take a time out here on MRN Motorsports Monday, which is now MRN Out Loud. We're on Retro Week. When we come back, we'll talk to the Xfinity Series champ, Tyler Reddick.
Since 1942, Freightliner has been an industry innovator, developing trucks renowned for their dependability and efficiency. Whether your job requires a dump truck, a concrete mixer, or a delivery truck, you can count on Freightliner to maximize your productivity. With a wide range of horsepower and torque rating, that meet even the most demanding job conditions. Freightliner trucks are built to build your business. Learn more at Freightliner.com. Freightliner. Work smart.
Hey guys, it's Dylan Welch. He's Tyler Burnett. We're the co-hosts of the Rip the Fence podcast. If you like traditional non-wing dirt track racing, we've got the podcast for you.
Shane Meal trying to drive away.
I can't do everything, but I could do anything and everything I wanted before I got injured. So
just like many of the great podcasts going, we invite racers in to talk, and they tell us their life story.
And it's how I feel that matters.
It's the Rip the Fence podcast, available on MRN.com and your favorite podcast app.
Veteran drivers and rookie drivers. NASCAR Today Midday keeps you up to date with all your favorites each weekday.
It's a dream come true. A lot of you know the path that I've gone down.
There's a lot of opportunity with the package changes, you know, with the Chevrolet and the work they're putting in. And I know one thing's for sure, it's good to have my name on the top of the Cup car.
Don't miss any of the breaking NASCAR news with NASCAR Today Midday. Only on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
White flag is in the air, and Tyler Reddick sees it off from turn number 4. One more lap car to navigate around. There he's at the stripe. He leads into turn number 1.
He can almost walk it home from here. A spectacular performance tonight in Miami, Florida. Off turn 2 for the title time. It's all Tyler Reddick.
And what a phenomenal way to cap off what has been a great season. He's the best of the big three as he works down the back straightaway for the final time. Tyler Reddick on his way to becoming a two-time NASCAR Xfinity Series champion.
The right rear of that Chevy Camaro is just leaning on that safer barrier. Here he comes out of corner number 4. Checkered flag is in the air. The Ford EcoBoost 300 and the 2019 NASCAR Xfinity Series championship belongs to Tyler Reddick.
That's the way it sounded on the Motor Racing Network Saturday on Ford Championship Weekend. And the winner and the champion joins us now, Tyler Reddick. Congratulations, man. I can't believe the way things worked out almost the way they did a year ago for you, rim riding your way to the championship. Does that make you nervous at all to be that close for so long? Evidently not. You've done it 2 years straight.
Yeah, you know, it really doesn't, but I definitely was more nervous this time around with having, you know, the name of my soon-to-be son on the line. I didn't want to mess that up, so my nerves were getting to me. You know, Cole's obviously a lot closer this time. He was right there battling, and you know, once he hit the wall there with about 10 to go, it gave us a little bit more breathing room. But for sure, he closed right back in again. So we're just trying to be smart. Didn't want to push any harder than we had to, but you know, he kept me honest there, and it was a fantastic battle with the big three. I mean, that's how we wanted it to go down. I hated to see Christopher have the speeding penalty, but that's what it was all about, man. We battled each other all year long, and it was so fitting that 50 laps to go, there we were, just the three of us, just going at it again. And honestly, not far behind. Justin Allgaier was right there too. So it was a crazy battle, and it is just crazy. We had such a cool battle and such a great year come down to the last run of that race.
Tyler, congratulations, back-to-back champions. It's a very limited list of drivers that did back-to-back champions, let alone what you've done, which was back-to-back champions with different teams. But when you show up to Homestead, you have something to think about, and I'm curious what direction you go. We've seen in the past, in all three series, essentially you have to win the race to win the championship. What came first, winning the race or beating the other three drivers?
You know, it was more about beating the other three. I mean, there were stages in that race when we were ahead of the other three, and then we weren't in first. But I thought, you know, getting the lead of this race is a good thing. Trying to make the most of the fresher tires and the clean air would be beneficial to us. So, you know, there was points in that race in the last stage that, you know, Noah had the lead, and you know, I tried to thread the needle, push the issue to get by him, so I could just give myself as much of a lead as I needed. So, I mean, the 20 and the 00, you know, the 00 is really fast. You had to overcome the loose wheel and come back through the field and get back on the lead lap, which in itself is incredible and very difficult at a place like Homestead. So, you know, he was hungry. He was working hard in there. And, you know, Christopher, once we got 1-2, he was running really close lap times to what I was. So getting as much advantage as you can is important. And obviously, we almost got a little too far ahead of the 0-0 there when we all came to pit road, but it all worked out. We still made pit road, and we were within reach to go out and get the championship.
Chatting with back-to-back Xfinity Series champ Tyler Reddick here as he has locked it up at Homestead Miami Speedway. You mentioned, Joey, that there's not many guys who've won 2 championships in the Xfinity Series. Here's a partial list. Sam Ard, Jack Ingram, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Martin Truex Jr. Not bad company. And Tyler, as you think about things like that, are you a stats guy? Do you look at stuff like that, or are you a day-to-day racing kind of guy?
What's so cool about Twitter, there's pluses and minuses, pros and cons to social media and Twitter, Instagram, and all of those. But what's really cool is, a lot of there's people out there that keep track of all the little things, what the championship standings would be in the old format, if you will, the traditional format. How many consecutive top fives, a driver or you may have compared to some of the greats of the sport. And a deal like that is really, really cool. And another crazy stat is just so cool is, Christopher leading, 2,000 plus laps in 33 races up against some guys that, legends of the sport like Sam as well. So just stuff like that is really cool to see. And it just goes to show how special of a year it was for all 3 of us. I know Christopher and Cole, wanted to win the championship too, but, winning 8 races for Christopher and leading all those laps, and Cole winning 7 races, and then us getting 6. I mean, we all had great years, and only one of us was going to walk away champion. But I feel like this year and how it all went is something. Obviously, I'll look back on something special, but I hope they do too. I mean, the last race is a big deal, but we all had fantastic years.
Yeah, Brad always told me that stats are something you look at after you retire or if you move on or something, and it's good to have good stats. You appreciate what you've done.
Tyler's only 23.
Yeah,
he's got a ways to go.
Long way to go. Hey, Tyler, you're going to be a new father, which is cool, and you got to name your baby Bo, which is awesome because ironically enough, my grandson is named Bo, so that was really cool to see. But we make such a big deal about you guys that are really good running up against the wall. As your newborn is coming out and he starts crying, you're going to have to give him his binky to quit crying to make him comfortable. No, my question is, when you start having to ride against the wall, is that your comfort zone? Are you relaxed up there? Or do you start running the bottom, as I call catfish, and running the bottom and look up there and go, okay, I know I have to go up there. Okay, I'll have to go up there, and that's where I'm going to go faster. Is that a comfort zone or a nervous zone for you against the wall?
I mean, it's a comfort zone for me, quite honestly. I feel like when I've gone and tested at some of these legendary racetracks like Darlington, Homestead's up there on my list, obviously. I guess that shouldn't be a surprise. But, a lot of these racetracks are so much fun, so cool. Rockingham, another one. And, for me, the closer I am to the wall, the less you don't hit it as hard if you're running closer to it. And the first time I hit the wall at Darlington, man, I smacked it coming off of turn 4, running the very bottom, got loose and caked it. And, the times I've hit the wall hard at some of these racetracks, it's running too far away from the wall, making a mistake and slapping it. So I quickly figured out the closer you run to it, the easier it is on your car when you get into it. I mean, Chase Briscoe, going back and watching that race, had a big tire failure and basically rode the fence halfway around the racetrack, and he rebounded to run third, I believe. So
yeah, that was crazy.
The closer you are to it, man, the less damage it does to your race car, and it gives your guys a chance to go back and get back out there and recover. And I remember very early on in my career at Texas Motor Speedway in the old worn-out surface, having contact. I think I was top of 3 wide with Joe Nemechek and another, and tire was going down, so I started to feel it go down, and I wasn't smart enough. I thought I was going to run the middle to give myself a little bit of you think you want to get away from the wall so you don't hit it, but you just build momentum, man. If you're going to have a tire failure, it's better to be right up next to it so you don't KO the car and you can finish the race.
Obviously, Tyler, winning a second straight championship is a big thrill, a lot of fun, but the fun doesn't stop there. I understand you've got a pretty big deal coming up this week in Orlando with Xfinity. Tell us what's happening.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I got to go to Universal Orlando Resorts last year. We had a parade. I got the kind of a VIP experience and got to see a lot of really cool things, and that's all thanks to Xfinity, Comcast. What they do for this series is awesome, and it's been an honor to race full-time with them for 2 years, part-time schedule the year before that. It's just been a lot of fun. There's a lot of great people over there, and it's just so cool what they do for young guys like myself, Cole, Christopher, and the others that will be racing in the future in that series. Just doing everything they can to make a name for themselves, and that's their big deal. Names are made here, and the three of us have had really good years, and we've ran really, really well this last year, and it's gotten us all cup rides next year. So it's really cool that they do everything that they do for guys like us, and let us go out there on Saturdays and put on great shows for the fans.
Well, one of the things you get to do, you mentioned it a little bit, you get to get out of the Xfinity Series, which has been so successful the last 2 years, and go cup racing, which is a big thing. And at least you won't have to see those other two guys anymore, will you?
Oh,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
That.
That we were talking before the show, that will be one of the most intense because all three of you guys are getting in very competitive cup cars that were good this year, and that'll be a good battle. What do you look at right now as being your biggest obstacle to overcome in your Cup Series rookie debut?
Just probably going to be the biggest thing is getting a feel for, my competitors and what they like and how they, I wouldn't say what they like, but, how they race. Me, Christopher Cole and I, I think we're very upfront about how hard we race each other and how much we enjoy that, and we're not bothered by it. Some of these other guys we got steel bodies on these cup cars now. We can't be bouncing off fences at each other. We'll cut tires, so just that whole, just getting back into the swing of things, remembering, all right, we're back in steel body car. I can't get away with knocking the fence down or running into this guy or that guy. So just coming back to that realization, realizing the longer races. Granted, what's awesome about it is we'll be racing against, some legends of the sport, some great drivers. The best are in the Cup Series. So we're going to have fun, but the biggest obstacle is going to be to probably keep the right side clean at some of my more favorite racetracks, such as Homestead and the others where we move around. But on top of that, just realize that every mistake is much more, much higher penalty. I feel like we were so fast this year, we could overcome a lot of things, and quite realistically, it's very difficult to overcome that in the Cup Series. In yesterday's race, if you were off just a little bit and the leaders lapped up to 15th place and all those guys behind were in a tough spot from that point on in the rest of the race, and it was hard to get the laps back. So there's no room for error. You gotta be able to take off early in these races. You can't go laps down, and it's just what's exciting for me is seeing how fast those RCR cars were at Homestead and how well Austin and Daniel did. So the team's working hard. We're gonna do everything we can to start the year off on the right foot. It's definitely going to be a challenge, but Randall, all of our guys, we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's got to be a good comfort level for you, knowing that the whole crew, I believe I heard, is going to move up with you to Cup. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we're trying to take everyone that we can, and some can't. Some want to stay home. All that stuff will get worked out. But it's awesome that Randall's coming. It's I love Derek Nealon to death. It's going to be a lot of fun having him on the spotter stand next year. He was he did such a great job for me in my part-time year at Ganassi. When I won at Kentucky, I had Ron Lewis spotting for me, who also did a great job. But it was so much fun on the weekends I wasn't racing to get up there and stand with Derek, see what he would see, listen to what he was telling Kyle and Alex whenever I guess he was driving the car, and just better understanding how difficult that job is. So I knew then and there that Derek was one of the best, and that's who I wanted. I loved his style and how aggressive he was as a spotter and how much he loves winning. So it was the perfect match, and it just fell together perfectly this year. And to have him come on board on the Xfinity side, and then the door opened up, the opportunity opened up for him to come Cup racing with us, and it's just a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to be able to be with the same people who have been so successful with you to get you to this point. Tyler, we appreciate your time. Congratulations, back-to-back championships in the Xfinity Series and heading for a big-time rookie battle in the Cup Series next year. Thank you, man. Appreciate your time, and congratulations.
Absolutely, and I guess happy retirement, Joey. I saw that you're hanging the hat up after all these years. It's been cool to have you up on the spotter stand, and wish you the best with all the piloting stuff.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. I was going to say congratulations and good luck on that fatherhood thing. That's going to be a big thing. You think racing is hard? Wait till that's going to be Yeah.
Did I hear right that you've been practicing the diaper routine on a cat? Is that true?
It was just once. It was a joke, but I mean,
just once.
It was just one time.
Change one diaper on a cat, you become a cat diaper changer the rest of your life.
Yeah. No, my girlfriend brought a cat when she moved in, and she's a great cat. She's loud, she's obnoxious, she knocks stuff over, but she's one of the best cats ever. And she just sat there and let me put a diaper on her. It's hard to figure out where to put the tail. But it all worked out.
All right, that is the perfect spot to wrap this up. Tyler, congratulations and thanks for your time, man.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you very much.
Congrats.
There you go. I never thought on this show that we would get to cat diapering
changes.
but here we are. Anyway, what Tyler mentioned is what we're going to talk about next here on MRN Out Loud. Joey Meier's last show and our last show of the season. We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back.
For 5 decades, the Motor Racing Network has been the voice of NASCAR. And now, it's time to tell our story.
They are in turn 2 in front of Mike Joy.
With help from some of the sport's iconic voices.
Oh, crap! And I spin around.
Here comes Richard Petty.
I'm Fred Armstrong. Join me for MRN's newest podcast series. MRN presents 50 Years, the voice of NASCAR. Available for download on MRN.com and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
The battle for the 2019 championship will be filled with twists and turns.
We got to kind of calm down for these speedway races because you can use the bumper, but you end up taking 10 other people with you.
Each weekday, NASCAR Today brings you the top stories in the sport.
That's a totally different experience for me and Cup.
In the garage, at the track, or behind the scenes, NASCAR Today keeps you up to speed every weekday.
Go for it. What do we got to lose? I don't know. I mean, you might as well try it, right?
When you're on the go, missing the side-by-side action at the racetrack isn't a problem.
Here comes Logano on the high side. He drives it deep into turn number 2.
Motor Racing Network brings the NASCAR race to you, wherever you are, so you don't miss one lap of the excitement.
Denny Hamlin has won the 61st edition of the Daytona 500.
You are the man, DH.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
MRN Out Loud, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Today, on Monday, if you're watching on a Monday, you can go by Outback Steakhouse and get your free bloomin' onion because Kevin Harvick got another top 10. But onions and tires have been our motto here the latter part of the season, and that's because Hercules Tires is giving away a free set of tires each month. You can register by going to HerculesTire.com/MRN. You might be a winner, and as everyone knows, tires aren't cheap.
No, and they're black. You can only get black ones.
Right. You don't have red or orange or anything like that?
Just to wrap up what Tyler was mentioning, next year, 2020, there's going to be a fantastic group of rookie drivers, something we haven't seen. Not only are they really good drivers and past experience with their Xfinity or truck, but they're getting in really good cars.
Mm-hmm.
We have to remember Tyler Reddick's going to RCR Cup, taking just about his entire team, bringing his spotter from the Xfinity side over to Cup. Derek Nealon came from Chip Ganassi, was spotting for Kyle Larson.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make that transition. Christopher Bell's leaving his Xfinity team for Gibbs, going over to the Levine family / Gibbs Association.
Affiliated car,
in that 95 car, bringing crew chiefs with him. You've got Cole Custer sitting in the Stewart-Haas Xfinity car, could have won that championship, now going and filling that seat for the 41, and most likely John Hunter Nemechek going to fill in that seat over at front row. All of those guys have been successful in the truck / Xfinity series, and now that's going to be an amazing battle. They're all like any of them can barely buy beer, right? They're just old enough to do that. Some of them are, and it's going to be a really good battle there for 2020.
Rookie battle came down this year to Daniel Hemrick against Ryan Preece, and Daniel Hemrick gets that. Tyler Reddick is moving into that car for the 2020 season. But as Tyler also mentioned, you're gonna see a big change next year in your professional life. Tell the folks about what's going on.
7 years ago, you and I sat down here. We started a show called 7 years ago. We didn't have video. We had a whole lot more hair. Not really.
We had black and white then, black and white TV with the rabbit ears.
And we had Craig working our production team, and we put a show together from MRN. We were given a good opportunity, and we moved forward. And last year, I thought was going to be my last year on the spotter stand. I was able to get with the Wood Brothers, an amazing operation over there. But I got a call from Dale Jr., somebody you may know him.
I've heard of him.
He's had a famous father. I guess you'd say,
and he's famous in his own right.
Yep. But he asked me if I'd be interested to come fly an airplane for him, and I'm going to take that opportunity, which allows me to get off the spotter stand after 23 years. And because I'm not involved in racing, it's kind of hard to come in and do a radio show about racing when you're not racing. So this will be my last show. I appreciate all our listeners. I appreciate working alongside of you. Craig, who's on our ears, who you don't get to ever talk to, but I get to listen to him tell us one commercial or that I'm talking too much, kind of like right now. and it'll be a good opportunity. So,
Joey's word of the day.
Word of the day, exactly. We've had our words of the day. We've had a great time here, and this will be a good finish. 2019 will be my last time being on MRN. It's been a good opportunity. We've had a lot of fun, man. That's what it's about.
We have. It's been really cool.
Had a lot of fun, so I appreciate all that.
Tell me what you're thinking for next year. You said it's a good point, a jumping off point for you when we were talking earlier, because with Paul Menard retiring, that's like a clean break type situation.
Yep. So, Paul Menard ended this year, and I was able to finish his career with him. Matt DiBenedetto, we clearly had the opportunity to work together, but he was somebody fresh, again, and he had his own spotter that realistically we've heard a lot of spotter talk with guys. Derek Nealon with Tyler Reddick and Jason Hedleski with Matt Crafton. It's about relationships, and if one of the things we've talked on this show for a number of years is about how important those relationships are. And Matt was going to come to the 21 team, and I was going to be able to spot for him, but he was going to have to leave somebody that he wanted, and it's a really good opportunity for those guys to continue working together. So when they get on the radio at Daytona for the first time, he hears the voice in his head that he's used to, and that's going to be able to give them a good advantage. I was looking forward to working with Matt, but it's really, really difficult to turn down an opportunity when Dale Jr. comes and says, hey, I'd like you to fly my airplane. I started my career with his dad back in the late 90s. It'll be, hopefully I can finish my career with his son and fly for Dale Jr. off in the sunset.
And you've got a little further school coming up to get up to speed, right?
Yeah, in aviation, every time you change airplane types, you have to go back to school. So I'll go my December, my off season. We kid about the off seasons. We've already got a full plan of off season travel with schooling, with personal travel with him and his family. And right away, Dale Jr. will be back down in Daytona for the 24-hour race. He's racing Homestead, Miami. He'll be at the Daytona 500 doing some things there. We'll go to the Brickyard race. We'll go to the Kentucky Derby. We do a lot of travel for personal and for business reasons, and that's why we have planes.
It's going to be a big change for sure, but I think I agree with you that what you're saying, you think it's the right time to make a move, and sometimes opportunities just present themselves whether you're seeking them or not, and it seems like that's what happened here. But I just wanted to say I really appreciate the time we've spent together, and we had hair back then.
That's it.
Way back then. Look what's happened to us.
That's it. Yep. Yeah, we were part of a hair band.
No. I'm going to interject here, and neither one of you had hair back then. Don't lie.
Okay, Craig. Joey said you're not to be heard, so don't blow it now.
Heard on his final day.
Okay. All right. We can allow that. But I just wanted to say I really appreciate the passion and the energy that you brought to this show, and the clear dedication to the sport and what we're doing. It's really made the show pop, and I appreciate all you've done.
I've been part of NASCAR for a long time. I actually was in NASCAR side of racing before aviation. The two worked together for the last 23 years. It'll be something I definitely miss. But looking forward, I have great optimism about our future. And again, I'll still be around. I just won't be sitting on the spotter stand.
There you go. That's going to wrap it up for us on MRN Out Loud for the 2019 season finale there. I'm Woody Cain. That's Joey Meier. Make sure you're with us on MRN.com all season long. Also NASCAR Live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. That will continue even after the season through the off season. And once again, Joey, man, thanks. Appreciate all the time we've had. And
very good.
And good luck next year. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm sure we'll see you around from time to time.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. Thanks for being with us all season long, and catch us next year.